that big.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What about you?
A United Nations military squad, led by Captain Natalie Artemis, is caught in a mysterious sandstorm and transported to a parallel world teeming with colossal, dangerous monsters. Stranded and outmatched, Artemis must quickly learn to survive this new, brutal environment with the help of a skilled local hunter to find her way home before they are devoured by the planet's formidable inhabitants.
No!
You got it!
Not so funny now, huh? Kill you! What the hell's a Rathalos?
they're weak just before they breathe fire.
Hey, ugly! Get the money! We've been searching for you.
Vulcan Maine, this is...
I say again, the alarms are...
Where are the rest of your men?
A Rathalos.
I got you.
Hey guys, today we are diving headfirst into the incredibly wild, visually stunning, and let's be honest, slightly baffling world of Monster Hunter from 2020. This is the kind of movie that just throws you into the deep end, then reveals the deep end is full of creatures the size of apartment buildings. We're talking about a universe where physics takes a vacation and monster parts are apparently the ultimate crafting material. So get ready to experience a journey that's less about subtle storytelling and more about pure, unadulterated monster mayhem. Before you head off, if you're enjoying the kind of content I make, please consider liking and subscribing. No pressure, but it truly helps me keep the action coming. Our story kicks off in a place you wouldn't expect for a monster movie, a vast, dusty desert in Afghanistan. Captain Natalie Artemis, played by Milla Jovovich, is leading a UN security team. They're on a routine patrol, driving their armored vehicles through the desolate landscape, the rumble of their engines a familiar drone against the silence. There's nothing particularly special about the day until, out of nowhere, a massive swirling sandstorm appears on the horizon. It's not just any sandstorm, mind you. It's practically a wall of swirling dust, crackling with unnatural energy. Before they can react, it engulfs their convoy, the sound of the wind howling and tearing at their vehicles, a deafening roar that silences everything else. The screens in their Humvees go haywire, sparks flying, and then a blinding flash of light, followed by an abrupt, disorienting stillness. When the dust settles, the world has fundamentally changed. The vehicles are wrecked, strewn across a rocky, alien landscape under a sky that's an unsettling shade of purple. The air itself feels different, heavy and primordial. They're in a place that makes the Afghan desert look like a picnic park. The team, disoriented but mostly intact, scrambles out, their boots crunching on unfamiliar terrain. Their comms are dead, their GPS useless. Immediately, the world building starts hitting us. This isn't just a new desert, it's an entirely different planet, or at least a pocket dimension. The very light seems to hum with a strange, ancient energy. Their initial exploration is met with a grotesque welcome. One of the team members, curious about a strange fossilized ribcage sticking out of the sand, gets a horrific surprise. The ground beneath him, far from being stable, explodes with a shower of sand and rocks, revealing a gigantic, horned beast, the Diablos. This thing is a walking, bellowing tank, covered in scaly hide with a massive shovel-like snout and two enormous, spiraling horns that could skewer a bus. Its roar vibrates through their bones, a primal sound of pure aggression. The team opens fire, their assault rifles spitting rounds, the pop, pop, pop of their weapons ridiculously futile against its armored hide. It's like throwing pebbles at a battleship. The Diablos barely registers the bullets, letting out another earth-shaking bellow before charging. This first encounter is a brutal lesson in the rules of this new world. Their high-tech military gear designed for human threats is utterly useless here. The Diablos makes short work of their vehicles, tossing them like toys. The screech of tearing metal, the thud of a Humvee hitting the ground after being thrown, all underscore their helplessness. Team members are picked off one by one, swallowed whole or impaled. It's a shocking display of power, a quick, efficient culling that establishes the stakes immediately. Artemis, pragmatic and resourceful, uses the chaos to try and escape, but it's a desperate fight for survival. The whoosh of the beast's tail as it whips through the air, the crush of its feet on the rock are constant reminders of their impending doom. Artemis eventually finds herself alone, lost in a massive ancient cave system after a harrowing escape. The air here is thick with a strange, sweet scent, and the cave walls are sticky with webbing. It's a beautifully rendered, claustrophobic environment that immediately screams bad news. She's injured, her uniform torn, but her resolve is intact. This is where we encounter the Nerscylla, spider-like creatures with venomous fangs and barbed tails. They are nightmare fuel, scurrying across the ceiling with an unnerving chittering sound. Their webs are incredibly strong, designed to ensnare prey. Artemis, using her training, navigates the treacherous tunnels, the drip, drip, drip of water echoing around her, amplifying the tension. She uses light flares, their hiss in sudden illumination, revealing more of the eight-legged horrors. It's during this ordeal that she meets the Hunter, a mysterious figure played by Tony Jaa. He's a native of this world, clad in armor made from monster parts, wielding a massive greatsword that looks like it could slice a car in half. The clang of his sword hitting a Nerscylla's chitinous leg is sharp and decisive. He moves with an almost supernatural agility, leaping, rolling, and striking with incredible precision. His language is completely foreign to Artemis, leading to some genuinely funny, if tense, attempts at communication. He mostly points, grunts, and uses elaborate hand gestures, which is surprisingly effective for conveying "we need to go" or "that thing will eat you." The thwack of his sling hitting a creature, the whoosh of his sword as he swings it are constant auditory companions to his actions. Their initial interactions are a mix of mistrust and necessity. Artemis tries to use her human weapons, like her pistol, which of course just tinks off a monster's hide, much to the hunter's exasperated amusement. He in turn demonstrates the sheer power of his world's weaponry. He uses a series of gadgets, a small explosive barrel trap that booms when detonated, and a giant net to ensnare a monster. The hunter is teaching Artemis not with words, but with brutal, real-time demonstrations, the universal language of "don't do that, do this." He's a walking encyclopedia of this world's rules, and Artemis, a fast learner, starts to adapt. She realizes the futility of her firearms and begins to appreciate the practical, often enormous tools of the hunter. We see the philosophy of this world. You fight monsters with monsters, or at least their essence. Their goal becomes clear: find a way out of this monster-infested land. The hunter shows Artemis ancient ruins, vast structures overgrown with vegetation, suggesting a long-lost civilization that perhaps understood this world better. These ruins offer glimpses into the old world and the new world, hinting at a cosmic connection or a portal of some kind. The architecture is grand and imposing, speaking of a people who lived alongside these behemoths, perhaps even harnessed their power. The rustle of dry leaves underfoot, the creak of ancient stone are the only sounds in these silent, forgotten places. Their journey is fraught with peril. They encounter creatures like the Apsaros, giant herbivorous turtle-like beasts that roam in herds, their slow, heavy thuds echoing across the plains. These are less of a direct threat, but illustrate the sheer scale of life here. And then there are the Rathalos. Ah, the Rathalos. This monster is basically the poster child of the Monster Hunter franchise. It's a colossal, fire-breathing flying wyvern, ruler of the skies. Its shriek is enough to make your teeth ache, and the swoosh of its leathery wings creates powerful gusts of wind. Its fire breath hisses and crackles as it incinerates swaths of the landscape. The hunter teaches Artemis about the weaknesses of these creatures. For the Diablos, sound is key. For the Rathalos, its fiery attacks leave it vulnerable. This isn't just about hacking and slashing, it's a strategic game of cat and mouse. He uses a sonic bomb to disorient the Diablos, causing it to thrash wildly, its bellows of pain echoing. Artemis, watching intently, begins to understand the delicate balance of this ecosystem, where every creature has a role and every monster has a weakness. This is where the world building really shines. We learn about monster behavior, their habitats, and how hunters exploit their instincts. The hunter's knowledge is not just about fighting, but about understanding. He even teaches her how to make a potion from the local plants, a bitter brew that gurgles down, but quickly heals wounds. Artemis, ever the soldier, begins to adapt her combat skills to this new reality. She learns to dodge, to roll, to time her attacks, and most importantly, to wield the hunter's gigantic, unwieldy tools. She practices with a slingshot that launches large, explosive projectiles, the thump of the launch and the boom of the impact making her smile grimly. She's not just surviving, she's evolving. The hunter, seeing her determination and grit, slowly begins to trust her. Their silent camaraderie builds with each shared near-death experience, a common bond forged in fire and monster guts. It's a classic odd couple dynamic, but with giant swords and even giant terror monsters. Their path eventually leads them to a lush, verdant oasis, a stark contrast to the desert. This area is teeming with different life forms, vibrant colors, and towering ancient trees. It's also home to other monstrous creatures, like the Jagras, smaller lizard-like pack hunters that pose less of a threat individually, but can overwhelm with numbers, their snapping jaws and hissing growls indicating their predatory nature. Here, they discover more hints of the ancient civilization, carved totems and structures that speak of a people who revered and perhaps even communicated with the elder dragons, the most powerful beings in this world. It's within this oasis that they face off against a pack of Nerscylla once more, a much more formidable challenge this time. Artemis, now armed with a large double-bladed weapon, essentially two giant knives she can wield with surprising dexterity, actively participates in the hunt. The whir of her blades, the slice as they cut through webbing, is a testament to her rapid adaptation. The hunter, using his immense greatsword, crashes it down with incredible force, the impact shaking the ground. They work in tandem, a truly unlikely duo, covering each other's backs. This is no longer just about survival. It's about reclaiming a sense of agency. Artemis isn't running anymore. She's fighting back. As they continue their journey, they find a larger, more advanced outpost, a functional society of hunters and researchers. This is a huge piece of world building, showing that humanity, or at least a type of humanity, exists and thrives in this world. Here we meet the Admiral, the wise and grizzled leader of this community, played with a calming gravitas by Ron Perlman. He explains the nature of the portal, a nexus between worlds, and the true danger, the elder dragons, particularly the one known as the Fatalists, a legendary creature whose power could threaten both worlds. The creak of the wooden structures, the chatter of the palicos, cat-like companions that assist hunters, and the clatter of tools fill this bustling hub. The Admiral reveals that the portal is powered by a colossal ancient structure, a gigantic tower of unknown origin that pierces the sky, glowing with an otherworldly energy. This sky tower is the source of the anomalies, and it's also the gateway. This entire place is a scientific marvel and an archaeological mystery. The hunters' community uses ingenious methods to survive. They have enormous steam-powered airships, their hissing mechanisms and whirring propellers, a marvel of steampunk technology. Their weapons are forged from monster parts, imbued with the essence and strength of the creatures they defeat. It's a completely self-sufficient and highly specialized society, built around the singular purpose of hunting and surviving. The Admiral also explains the unique geology and ecology of this world. There are different biomes, each with its own set of monsters, governed by the Elder Dragons. The Elder Dragons are not just powerful monsters, they are forces of nature, capable of reshaping landscapes and causing catastrophic events. They are the apex predators, and their movements influence everything. The groan of the airship as it sails through the sky, the flap of its sails in the wind, gives a sense of scale to their journey towards the tower. Our heroes learn that the Sky Tower, while a potential way home for Artemis, is also drawing monsters from her world into this one, and vice versa. It's a two-way street of destruction. The elder dragon Xenojiva, though not directly seen in its full form, is hinted out as the ultimate destructive force lurking within the tower's depths, a creature that could obliterate both realities. The very air around the tower thrums with energy, a testament to its power. The thought of this beast, its unseen power, a palpable threat, adds a layer of dread to their mission. Their path to the Sky Tower takes them through varied landscapes, further expanding the world building. They traverse volcanic regions where the sizzle of lava and the rumble of tremors are constant threats, and lush jungle-like areas where enormous bioluminescent plants cast an ethereal glow. Each biome presents new challenges and new creatures. We get glimpses of other monsters like the Baroth, a mud-slinging brute, and the Anjanath, a T-Rex-like fire breather, each with their own unique behaviors and attacks, adding to the rich tapestry of this dangerous world. The Hunter and Artemis become more and more synchronized, their movements fluid, their understanding of each other growing beyond language. The climax of their journey involves a massive battle against a colossal Rathalos, protecting the Sky Tower. This Rathalos is even larger and more aggressive than the previous ones, its screech tearing through the air, its fiery breath scorching the ground in wide swaths. The fight is spectacular, full of aerial maneuvers, ground-shaking impacts, and strategic use of the environment. Artemis, now fully embracing her role as a monster hunter, uses her double blades to scale the monster, digging in with grappling hooks, the rip of the claws against the Rathalos' hide a vuthed sound. She's learned to use the monster's own momentum against it, a trick the hunter showed her. The whoosh of her blades, the thud of her landing are precise and confident. The hunter, meanwhile, unleashes his full arsenal, including explosive barrel bombs and expertly aimed arrows, each twang of the bowstring followed by an explosion on the monster's scales. The palicos, those adorable cat-like companions, also join the fray, their tiny weapons clinking against the monster, their high-pitched battle cries adding a touch of comic relief to the epic fight. It's a beautifully choreographed sequence that showcases the incredible strength and resilience of these hunters, and the sheer scale of the creatures they face. The crack of the Rathalos' bones as it finally succumbs to their combined assault is a satisfying end to a grueling battle. However, the defeat of the Rathalos is merely a prelude to the true threat. The Sky Tower, now somewhat destabilized by the fight, opens a more powerful portal, and out of it emerges an elder dragon, a massive, terrifying creature with glowing eyes and immense power. While not fully identified, its sheer presence makes the Rathalos look like a house cat. This new threat dwarfs everything they faced, its growl a deep guttural sound that seems to shake the very foundations of reality. The crackle of its energy as it prepares to unleash an attack is terrifying. The Admiral and his team arrive in their airships, their cannons booming and rockets hissing towards the monster, a desperate attempt to buy time. The airship's own whir and clank as it maneuvers are juxtaposed with the immense silent power of the Elder Dragon. The Hunter and Artemis realize this isn't just about getting her home, it's about protecting both worlds from an existential threat. The sheer visual spectacle of this final confrontation, with the glowing portal, the ancient tower, the gigantic monster, and the technologically advanced airships, is truly breathtaking. It leaves us on a cliffhanger with the promise of an even grander adventure to come, showcasing the vastness and mystery of the Monster Hunter universe. The sound of its footsteps, an incomprehensibly heavy thud, 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 signals its slow, inevitable advance. This world is not just about big monsters. It's about an entire ecosystem designed around them. From the flora that provides healing remedies to the unique geological formations caused by monster activity, everything is interconnected. The hunters don't just kill, they understand. They live by a code that respects the power of nature, even as they fight to survive within it. The armor and weapons crafted from the very beasts they hunt are a constant reminder of this symbiotic, albeit violent, relationship. The hiss of steam from a Palico's cooking pot, the clatter of tools in a workshop, all build this sense of a living, breathing world, separate but functional. It's a universe where survival means constant adaptation and respect for forces far beyond human comprehension. The subtle visual cues, like the way certain plants curl or how the sand shimmers, all add to this layered environment. The squawk of a distant bird or the chirp of an unseen insect subtly reinforces the feeling of an active, vibrant ecosystem. The world itself is a character, constantly challenging, constantly evolving. As we reflect on Artemis's journey, we see more than just a soldier adapting to a new fight. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for resilience, learning, and finding common ground even in the most alien circumstances. Her initial shock and fear slowly transform into determination and respect for this new dangerous world. She found a purpose beyond her original mission, a connection to a world and a people she never imagined. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest challenges lead to the most profound transformations. What an absolute roller coaster! Monster Hunter delivers exactly what it promises: gigantic monsters, epic battles, and a whole lot of, wait, what just happened? It's a movie that prioritizes spectacle and fun over intricate plot, and honestly, sometimes that's exactly what you need. It perfectly captures the essence of the game's world building and creature design, leaving you eager for the next hunt.
Our story kicks off in a way that immediately sets the tone, dropping us right into the thick of it with the Admiral's colossal sailing airship, a majestic vessel that looks like it flew straight out of a fantasy novel. It's cruising through tempestuous skies, a true marvel of engineering, defying gravity with sails unfurled against an angry, roiling storm. The deck is abuzz with activity, the metallic creak of the ship's rigging battling against the howling wind. But the peace, if you could even call it that, is shattered by the sudden guttural roar that rips through the air, shaking the very foundations of the ship. A creature of immense size and terrifying power, a Rathalos, descends upon them with a furious, earth-shattering screech. Its scales, a fiery red, reflect the lightning that cracks across the sky, and its piercing yellow eyes gleam with predatory intelligence. The colossal beast is relentless, swiping with razor-sharp claws that tear through the ship's wood and canvas like tissue paper. Its wings, vast and leathery, create powerful gusts of wind that whip the crew around, sending them sprawling. The air fills with the whoosh of its wings, the crack of splintering timber, and the desperate shouts of the crew as they scramble to fight back, their harpoons and weapons seemingly puny against such an overwhelming force. The ship, once a symbol of defiance against the elements, rapidly succumbs to the monster's onslaught, groaning and protesting as it's ripped apart. We hear the clang of metal on scale, the futile attempts to repel the beast. The Admiral, a man of imposing stature and grim determination, can only watch as his ship, his crew, and his mission literally go down in flames, swallowed by the swirling portal that inexplicably opens in the sky, consuming the wreckage and its occupants with a terrifying, otherworldly pull. It's a truly spectacular, if utterly devastating, introduction to the sheer power of this world's creatures, making it clear that this isn't your average Tuesday evening.
Meanwhile, back in a world that's slightly more recognizable, though still pretty intense, we meet Captain Natalie Artemis, a no-nonsense U.S. Army Ranger leading her elite tactical team through a desert landscape that feels both familiar and unnervingly desolate. They're on a search and rescue mission, a standard operation in what we quickly understand as a world riddled with strange atmospheric disturbances and unexplained disappearances. The Humvee kicks up plumes of sand and dust, its engine a low rumble cutting through the silence of the vast, baking expanse. The sun beats down relentlessly, baking the sand to an almost unbearable heat. Radio static crackles, adding to the tension. Their gear is state-of-the-art, all high-tech weaponry and precise communication, a stark contrast to the primitive, yet incredibly effective tools we've just witnessed on the Admiral's ship. Artemis is all focus and determination, her eyes scanning the horizon, her grip tight on her rifle. The team, a tight-knit unit, moves with practiced efficiency, each member knowing their role. But this is where the ordinary takes a sharp left turn into the extraordinary. A massive swirling sandstorm materializes on the horizon, not just any storm, but one with an unnatural, almost electric glow emanating from its core. The wind picks up, howling a mournful tune as it lashes sand against their faces and the vehicle's windows. Visibility drops to near zero. It's not just wind and sand, it's an energetic anomaly, a force that doesn't quite belong. Their instruments go haywire, needles spinning wildly, radios spitting out garbled, unintelligible static. Lights flicker, systems fail. Then, with a deafening pop that vibrates through their very bones, their world as they know it is ripped open. A portal, shimmering with an impossible ethereal light, tears through the sky, swallowing their Humvee and the entire team in a terrifying, disorienting rush of light and sound. The air is sucked out of their lungs, the whoosh of the portal's pull deafening. It's like being flushed down the biggest, most aggressive toilet in the universe, and you know instantly that whatever's on the other side isn't going to be a welcoming party.
Artemis wakes up with a jolt, her head throbbing, her senses assaulted by a world that defies all logic. The air is thick with the scent of unfamiliar flora and ancient dust. The terrain is alien, a landscape of bizarre, towering rock formations that pierce the sky like jagged teeth, and strange, luminous plants that pulse with an inner light. The silence after the roar of the portal is unsettling, broken only by the crackle of distant heat and the whir of something unseen. Her Humvee is a mangled wreck, half buried in the strange, coarse sand. The rest of her team is scattered, disoriented, some injured. It's clear they're not in Kansas anymore, or any other recognizable part of Earth for that matter. Her high-tech gear, while initially offering a sense of security, suddenly feels inadequate, designed for a different kind of war. This is a survival situation, pure and unadulterated, and the rules have fundamentally changed. The initial shock gives way to a grim determination. Her training kicks in. She checks her weapon, assessing her surroundings, listening intently for any sound that might betray a hidden threat. And a threat quickly reveals itself, because this new world is not just visually stunning, it's aggressively populated. The ground begins to tremble, a low thrum that vibrates through their boots, growing in intensity with each passing second. The air fills with a deep, resonating thud, 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 like a giant's heartbeat. It's a Diablos, an absolutely monstrous creature that bursts from beneath the sand with an explosive roar, sending rocks and dust flying. Its skin is like reinforced concrete, a truly formidable hide, its two massive curved horns gleaming ominously, designed for impaling. This thing makes a rhino look like a hamster. It's aggressive, territorial, and absolutely massive, its sheer bulk creating a powerful wake of displaced air as it charges. The clack of its heavy footsteps vibrates through the ground. Its roar is a physical force, rattling their teeth. Artemis and her team, despite their training and firepower, are completely outmatched. Their rifles, designed for human combatants, merely ping off its armored hide, leaving barely a scratch. The monster lunges, its horns tearing through the sand with destructive force, throwing team members like ragdolls. The crunch of their gear, the thump of bodies hitting the ground, the desperate shouts, all blend into a horrifying symphony of chaos. Artemis watches helplessly as her team is systematically dismantled by a creature that embodies primal, untamed power. The sheer scale of the danger is breathtaking and humbling. It's a truly terrifying baptism by fire into the new world, and a stark reminder that some threats simply cannot be reasoned with or outshot with conventional weapons. Artemis, now utterly alone, injured and desperate, crawls away from the wreckage, the metallic scent of blood heavy in the air. The desert sun, now setting, paints the alien sky in hues of orange and purple, a beautiful but grim backdrop to her predicament. The scritch-scritch of something moving in the distance sends a shiver down her spine. The silence after the Diablos' rampage is almost more terrifying. She stumbles upon a small, derelict structure, a rickety wooden tower that looks like it's been weathering the elements for centuries. It's here, amidst the decaying timbers and ancient dust, that she encounters him, the hunter. He's a solitary figure, hardened by the elements, his face weathered, his eyes sharp and observant. His appearance is striking, a walking arsenal of primitive yet effective gear crafted from what looks like monster parts, bone, leather, and sharpened stone. He moves with a quiet grace, his massive greatsword, a truly ridiculously oversized blade slung casually over his shoulder. You look at it and just think, how does he even lift that, let alone swing it with such force? It's heavier than most compact cars. Their initial interaction is, predictably, a mess of nonverbal communication and mutual suspicion. Artemis, desperate and armed with her military pistol, tries to communicate, her words meaningless in this new world. The hunter, wary but also intrigued by the strange newcomer in peculiar clothing, speaks a language that's equally alien to her, a guttural, melodic tongue that sounds like something from an ancient epic poem. Their first attempt at understanding each other ends with the hunter ensnaring Artemis in a net, a surprisingly effective move that renders her high-tech firearm useless. He's efficient, knows his environment, and clearly has no patience for her confused attempts at diplomacy. The thud of the net hitting the ground, the whoosh of his staff, and her frustrated grunt are the only sounds. It's clear that in this world, brute force and cunning triumph over modern technology, and our hunter knows a thing or two about both. The hunter, dragging the now-bound Artemis, leads her through a treacherous landscape. The ground beneath them shifts and cracks, and the air grows heavy with a strange, sweet scent. They are forced into a narrow, winding cave, a labyrinth of dark, damp passages. The drip, drip, drip of water echoing through the darkness. This is no ordinary cave.
It's a nest, a truly horrifying arachnid-infested lair. Webs, thick and sticky as industrial adhesive, cling to every surface, glistening eerily in the faint light filtering from the entrance. The scuttle, scuttle, scuttle of unseen legs reverberates from the shadows. These are Nerscylla, monstrous spider-like creatures, their multifaceted eyes glowing with malevolent intent. Their bodies are covered in chitinous armor, and their fangs drip with venom. One wrong move, one misplaced step, and you're their next meal. Seriously, if you're arachnophobic, this part of the movie is going to give you nightmares for weeks. Artemis, still bound but fiercely determined, eventually manages to free herself using a discarded shard of a broken monster bone, a desperate scrape against her ropes. Seeing the hunter momentarily overwhelmed by a swarm of Nerscylla, she takes action. Her pistol, while still not ideal for these creatures, becomes a crucial tool for distraction, the pop, pop, pop of its shots echoing loudly in the enclosed space, drawing the spider's attention away from the hunter. This is a turning point, the first tentative step towards an unlikely alliance. The hunter, momentarily surprised by her unexpected assistance, quickly recognizes her fighting spirit. He uses his great sword with incredible precision, the swish and thunk of the blade as it cleaves through chitinous legs and bodies. He demonstrates the true art of monster hunting, using the environment to his advantage, setting up traps and understanding the creature's patterns. The hiss of the Nerscylla, the thump of their bodies against the cave walls, and the desperate grunts of the protagonists fill the air. The combined efforts, a clumsy dance of modern firepower and ancient combat techniques, allow them to escape the nightmarish cave, leaving behind a trail of felled spiders and a growing, unspoken respect between them. The irony isn't lost that her fancy military gear initially just got her captured, but now it's making a difference. Emerging from the Nerscylla cave, they find themselves in a precarious temporary camp. It's a simple setup, just a makeshift shelter against the elements, but it's a sanctuary in this hostile world. The air is still, save for the gentle rustle of dry leaves. It's here, amidst the quiet hum of the alien wilderness, that the communication barrier slowly begins to crumble. The hunter, though still unable to speak her language, uses a combination of grunts, gestures, and crude drawings in the dirt to explain the world around them. He points to the towering sky tower in the distance, a massive ancient structure that pierces the clouds, explaining that it's the source of the portals, the bridge between worlds. He draws monstrous shapes in the sand, illustrating the various creatures that inhabit this land, describing their weaknesses and behaviors. He points to the stars, tracing imaginary lines that explain the celestial mechanics of this new world. He gestures wildly to the biggest, most terrifying monster on his drawing board, a Rathalos, an elder dragon, the ultimate threat, a creature capable of devastating entire ecosystems, and the one that guards the sky tower. He emphasizes the Rathalos' power, its fiery breath, its impenetrable scales. Artemis, ever the quick study, begins to grasp the harsh realities of this new existence. She observes the hunter's methods, his unparalleled tracking skills, the almost spiritual connection he has with his environment. He shows her how to wield a slinger, a versatile wrist-mounted crossbow that can fire various projectiles, including ropes for climbing, stones for distraction, or even bombs. The click of the slinger mechanism becomes a familiar sound. He demonstrates the sheer force required to handle his greatsword, urging her to find a weapon that suits her own style. She tries to lift it, a pathetic grunt escaping her lips as she fails, making him chuckle, a rare sound of mirth from the stoic warrior. She sees the raw power and simple elegance of his gear, crafted from the very monsters they hunt, imbued with their strengths. She learns to read the tracks in the sand, to listen to the subtle sounds of the wind, to identify the dangerous rustles in the undergrowth. Her military training, once her strongest asset, now serves as a foundation for a completely new set of survival skills, adapting to a world where a spear is often more effective than a rifle. It's a truly fascinating exchange, a fusion of two vastly different approaches to combat and survival, both equally valid in their own contexts. Their next objective, clear as the alien sky, is to reach the sky tower. This means a treacherous journey across vast, open desert plains, the kind that stretch endlessly, shimmering under the brutal sun. The crunch-crunch of their boots on the coarse sand is the only rhythm for miles. This is Diablos territory, a constant, looming threat. The ground beneath them feels alive, constantly rumbling with the potential of a subterranean ambush. The thrum of the earth keeps them on edge. The hunter, with his profound knowledge of the land, guides Artemis, teaching her how to move silently, how to read the subtle shifts in the sand that betray a burrowing creature, how to predict a Diablos' charge. He teaches her to blend with the environment, to become almost invisible. Their journey is fraught with near misses. They hug the jagged rock formations, using the sparse cover to avoid detection. The desert wind whips sand against their faces, creating a gritty, stinging sensation. They observe the monstrous apsaros, giant placid herbivores that graze on the strange desert plants. Their thick hides offer a brief sense of false security. But the tranquility is always fleeting. The telltale rumble in the ground, growing louder and more insistent, signals the terrifying return of the Diablos. This time they're prepared, at least partially. This isn't just about fighting, it's about strategy, about outsmarting a creature of immense power. The hunter sets traps, digging camouflaged pits, baiting them with raw meat. He fashions crude but effective explosives from local materials, their hissing fuses a prelude to destructive booms. Artemis uses her slinger, not for killing, but for distraction, for targeting weak points, for triggering traps with precise shots. She's learning to use her modern brain in this ancient world. The confrontation with the Diablos is an epic dance of survival and tactical prowess. The beast bursts from the sand with a furious roar, its horn slicing through the air. The thud of its charge vibrates through their very bones. But this time, they're akeem. The hunter, using his massive greatsword, draws its attention, his powerful swings and clangs against its hide, buying precious seconds. Artemis, nimble and quick, fires her slinger with practiced accuracy, her shots hitting its legs, blinding its eyes, guiding it towards the hidden traps. The snap of the pitfall trap, the crunch of the ground giving way, momentarily incapacitates the monster. The hunter then delivers devastating blows, his weapon tearing into its vulnerable underbelly. The crackle of the explosives, the boom that sends shockwaves through the desert, further weakens the beast. The battle is a brutal symphony of roars, weapon impacts, and desperate grunts. They work in tandem, a perfectly synchronized unit, their movements fluid and precise. Finally, with a monumental heave and a desperate final strike from the hunter's greatsword, the colossal Diablos lets out a dying bellow that shakes the very desert before collapsing with a final, earth-shattering thump, its body sending up a plume of dust. It's a hard-won victory, a testament to their combined strength and burgeoning camaraderie. Artemis looks at the hunter, a silent understanding passing between them, a shared sense of accomplishment. She even manages a small, genuine smile, a rarity for her. With the Diablos defeated, they continue their arduous trek to the Sky Tower, its silhouette growing larger and more imposing with every step. The air around the tower crackles with energy, a faint hum that intensifies as they draw closer. The structure itself is breathtaking, a colossal, ancient edifice that reaches impossibly high into the sky, carved with intricate, weathered symbols. It feels impossibly old, a relic from a civilization long gone. At its base, the ground is scorched, a testament to the immense power it harnesses. Reaching the portal means activating it, and that means getting past its guardian.
As they ascend the winding path leading to the tower's summit, the air grows heavy, thick with the scent of ozone and the subtle whoosh of unseen wings. A guttural screech rips through the sky, announcing the arrival of the Rathalos. This is the big one, the creature the hunter warned her about, a true elder dragon. Its fiery red scales shimmer like molten lava, its vast wings beating with a force that creates powerful downdrafts. Its eyes, burning yellow, fixate on them with terrifying intensity. Its roar is deafening, a sonic assault that forces them to cover their ears. This creature is not just an animal, it's a force of nature, a living, breathing weapon. The ground trembles as it lands, the thump of its landing sending vibrations through the very rock. Its breath, a torrent of superheated flame, incinerates everything in its path, turning solid rock into bubbling slag with a terrifying hiss and roar. They're immediately on the defensive, ducking and weaving through the inferno. The hunter, armed with his greatsword and an unshakable resolve, engages the beast directly, drawing its attention, his massive sword clanging against its scales, sparks flying with each impact. Artemis, now more adept with her slinger and with a newfound understanding of this world's combat, uses her wits and whatever modern munition she has left. She aims for its eyes, for the vulnerable membranes of its wings, trying to ground the flying menace. The swoosh of the Rathalos
Rathalos' tail, the snap of its straws, the whoosh of its wings as it takes flight again, fill the air with terrifying speed. It's a desperate struggle, two tiny figures against a titan. Just as they seem on the verge of being overwhelmed, a new sound cuts through the chaos, the familiar thrum of propellers, the whine of engines, and the unmistakable boom of cannon fire. A fleet of airships, sleek and powerful, burst through the clouds, their cannons blazing.
It's the Admiral and his crew, not just one ship, but an entire squadron, a truly awe-inspiring sight against the backdrop of the alien sky. They finally arrived, drawn by the same portal energy. The Admiral, his face grim but relieved, commands the fleet, their cannons unleashing a barrage of fire that explodes against the Rathalos, distracting it, forcing it to momentarily retreat from the sky tower. The air fills with the crack of gunfire, the boom of cannons, and the persistent, furious screech of the enraged Elder Dragon. The Admiral lands his ship, the thud of its grappling hook securing it to the tower. He explains everything to Artemis in rapid, urgent tones. He's been hunting these creatures for years, trying to contain the Elder Dragons in this new world, preventing them from crossing into her world through these portals, which he refers to as the Artemis Project portals. He reveals the true scale of the threat. The Rathalos isn't just guarding the tower, it's intrinsically linked to the portal, its sheer energy keeping it open. If it crosses, it could unleash an Elder Dragon calamity on Earth. It's a classic case of, you thought this was bad? Just wait. The plan is set. They must stop the Rathalos, drive it back, and close the portal. It's a combined assault, a spectacular fusion of ancient hunting techniques and futuristic military might. The Admiral's airships, bristling with cannons and guided by the seasoned wisdom of his crew, provide heavy fire support, their booms echoing across the landscape. The Hunter, a whirlwind of motion, uses his intimate knowledge of the Rathalos' patterns, his greatsword a blur of steel against the creature's scales. He dodges its fiery breath, the hiss of the flames licking at his heels, and times his attacks with surgical precision. Artemis, now armed with a more fitting weapon, a pair of dual blades, lighter and faster than the greatsword, allowing for rapid, acrobatic attacks, joins the fray. Her movements are fluid, her swishes and slashes blurring as she dances around the massive beast, targeting its weak points, the softer underbelly, the webbing of its wings. She uses the slinger to deploy specialized harpoons that tether the beast, momentarily grounding it, allowing the airships to unleash concentrated fire. The Rathalos, enraged, unleashes a torrent of fire, its roars echoing with frustrated fury. The whoosh of its wings as it takes flight, the clang of its claws against the ship's hull, the boom of explosions, the swish of blades, and the pop of Artemis' slinger shots all combine into a symphony of warfare. The battle escalates dramatically, moving from the sky tower to the very edge of the portal itself. The Rathalos, desperate to escape, tries to force its way through, its body crackling with the raw energy of the portal. The Admiral and his crew bravely engage it, their harpoons finding purchase in its tough hide, their cannon fire creating craters in the ground around it. The Hunter, with a daring leap, scales the Rathalos, his greatsword carving a path through its scales, aiming for its head. Artemis, using her agility, distracts it with a flurry of attacks, her dual blades flashing in the ethereal portal light. The portal hums, a low, ominous thrum, threatening to unleash untold horrors. With a final coordinated effort, a powerful blast from the airships, combined with a devastating strike from the Hunter, and a precise critical hit from Artemis' dual blades, the Rathalos is finally, decisively brought down. It lets out a pained, echoing screech, its massive body collapsing with a final thud at the mouth of the portal. The energy field flickers, crackles, and then, with a soft pop and a fading whine, the portal slowly begins to close, sucking the last wisps of its energy back into the new world. A deafening silence follows, broken only by the panting breaths of the survivors and the creak of the airships. The immediate threat is over, the portal sealed. Artemis and the Hunter, along with the Admiral and his crew, stand victorious, but the victory is short-lived. A new, more ominous tremor starts, deeper, more resonant than anything they felt before. The Sky Tower, while momentarily saved, is merely a gateway. As the portal winks out, a new, massive fissure, a truly gigantic anomaly, rips open in the sky above them, revealing a swirling black void. A new, even larger, more terrifying silhouette emerges from the depths of this new portal. Its sheer size dwarfs the Rathalos, its presence radiating an ancient primordial power. The whoosh of its emergence, the thrum of its power, fills the entire landscape. The Admiral, his face a mask of grim determination, simply says, "There are worse things out there." The Hunter, equally stoic,
draws his greatsword, ready for the next impossible challenge. Artemis, having come full circle from an ordinary soldier to a seasoned monster hunter, stands ready, her dual blades flashing. The battle for survival, for the fate of two worlds, has only just begun. It's a classic sequel setup, leaving you hanging with a truly massive oh no, what now moment. The movie ends with a promise of even bigger, more destructive creatures, and our heroes preparing for a fight that seems impossible, yet necessary. Honestly, if this isn't enough to get you excited for a follow-up, I don't know what is. Except maybe free snacks.
As the dust settles and the vast alien landscape stretches before us, we're left reflecting on a journey that truly transcends the boundaries of our known world. It's a powerful testament to human adaptability, to the incredible resilience that emerges when faced with unimaginable challenges. The movie, despite its fantastical setting, offers a grounded exploration of what it means to survive, to form bonds across the greatest cultural and linguistic divides, and to fight for something bigger than oneself. It reminds us that courage isn't about being fearless, but about facing down your deepest fears, even when the odds are stacked against you like a mountain range. The silent respect between Artemis and the hunter speaks volumes, a universal language of shared struggle and hard-won victory that inspires us to look beyond our differences and find common ground. Monster Hunter, while perhaps not a cinematic masterpiece for everyone, delivers exactly what it promises: relentless action, awe-inspiring creatures, and a surprisingly engaging story of survival in cross-cultural alliance. It's a visually spectacular ride, bringing the iconic game monsters to life with impressive fidelity. If you're looking for a fun popcorn flick with epic monster battles, this one hits the mark.